Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today we have for you a 2 vs 2, yes indeed, a 2 vs 2 on rails and metals. Axis and allies shall be clashing in some broken off railway section, and of course that was one of the fun tactics and strategies of the allies just before and during the fighting in Normandy. Of course they'd rather had that problem afterwards when they had to move further into France and towards Germany. They didn't really have much of a logistics system to use because they'd blown it all up. So always a nice thing to keep in mind if you're planning your own campaign involving harassment of the enemy supply lines. Make sure you can actually use them yourselves afterwards. But no, that is not what this is about. This is a 2 vs 2 Axis allies clashing, and of course rails and metals is a rather particular map, rather interesting, and certainly one of the few to actually feature a very important house in terms of strategy and tactics. This house, this innocent little looking house with its nice look, dominates not only one victory point and a fuel point, but a second victory point as well, meaning this building with a heavy machine gun can be quite painful, and of course some players will do quite a bit to actually ensure the enemy can't take it, and of course some will just ignore it and sort of shift the fight towards the west, but really most of the fighting tends to happen right here by this house in some manner or fashion. And of course Brits will either place themselves right behind the south if they're on the south, or they might try to place themselves up here. And that's of course some of the places to watch out for a Britain, and of course perhaps try to plan out some sneaky maneuvers. Of course you can, if you decide so, to perhaps try to move up through here and then sort of flank about and attack that position from there, but we're getting too far ahead. But instead let us go and look at our opponents. In the south we are seeing Chuuone of the Wehrmacht, and we are seeing a Kettenkrad from NTD of the Panzer Elite, yes indeed, and combined they make, oh I don't know, let us just say the 9th SS Panzer Division, Hohenstaufen I believe, or was it Fronsberg? Oh, I always confuse those two names. Divisions create at the same time. Were alright, although they were a bit lacking in equipment since they'd already been all fighting on the eastern front when they were quickly marched off towards the west. In particular, the 10th had only one panzer battalion rather than its two, and that was composed partly of Panzer Force and Stug Force. Now then, of course, who shall be opposing it? Shall be ChargerReloaded, so we're already going to guess who's the other chap. AirReloaded, yes indeed, ChargerReloaded and AirReloaded of the Allied forces. Leading forward, the British 11th Armoured Division being supported by elements of some American infantry unit, probably some riflemen with a bit of armor wraps. Although unrecorded in the annals of history in this case. And let us see what will be going on. We'll be seeing a Wehrmacht quarters going up for Chuuone, Pioneers on the way, Kettenkrad heading outwards, Panzer Grenadiers on the way from NTD. Will there be further Panzer Grenadiers, or has NTD got better plans? No, indeed, we are seeing further Panzer Grenadiers, and we are seeing a barracks up from ChargerReloaded. Of course, we're probably going to see a rather infantry-heavy start from our Allied forces du jour. Truck not packing up quite yet, though. Brett's heading for this munitions point. Could be he's setting up there, or he's just not really in a rush to place down his truck on any points. Certainly not impossible, and looks like a second infantry section is on the way. Of course, he is perhaps hoping to first connect his territories with his teammate before moving onwards, because as soon as he packs that truck up and it's not connected to another headquarters, that of course becomes unconnected, and his infantry section, which is not a recon section, suddenly becomes very reluctant to move about because it's suddenly no longer in friendly territory. Wehrmacht quarters up, Pioneers heading eastwards, Panzer Grenadiers getting ready, and looks like Chuuone is going for that sort of dreaded, slightly defensive support posture, and looks like NTD is then sort of going for, let's go for lots of the infantry. In fact, let's be the infantry fighting force for all of this, which is again the sort of thing I rather dread. It can be rather dangerous and risky, in particular if there's not proper coordination, and that really needs to be a sharp coordination between the two. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there between those two, so don't ask me. It could be friendly banter, could just also be utterly insane banter. I mean, those two can be very hard to determine. but the Britons are pushing onwards. Riflemen joining in now as well. First engagement right here. Pioneers coming under fire. MG42 setting up. Panzer Grenadiers moving in to support. Some with the Gewehr 43 or 43. Made in 1943. It was the German semi-automatic rifle of choice, although there was also the Gewehr 41 used by them. Infantry troops moving in from all sides, some ignoring them perhaps. The MG42 proving to be quite a threat, seeing as it's being supported by Panzer Grenadiers. Some rather tough infantry and also rather dangerous, but at the same time they can't quite measure with proper grenadiers. That's probably because these chaps are reconnaissance Panzer Grenadiers, although in the sense there weren't actually much of a difference. Basically difference was their task. Let's not get stuck on that. We are seeing an engagement here. British troops engaging all of this behind heavy cover, which of course means they can't get easily suppressed, although the bike might change that by trying to push it out of cover. That is a tactic used by some Wehrmacht players, but no, bike is moving away, and we are finally seeing some foot grenadiers out for Chuuone and his part of the 9th SS. Looks like in the meanwhile British troops are moving in from the north. Kettenkrad comes under fire, needs to get away. Absolutely no presence in the west, though, from the Wehrmacht forces, the Axis. In fact, the Allies are pressing forwards there right quite successfully. I'm not rather liking that they are in a sense actually giving up part of the map so early on, of course, and they aren't even been able to secure the central victory point, even that one quite yet, although it looks like we are seeing some barbed wire here to sort of keep that flank secure. Good job. Full grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers moving in to deal with this rifleman who are snuck in right there, trying to do a bit of harassment. But I immediately see firing themselves under fire. Further riflemen moving in to assist their comrades in arms. Riflemen running away. Several going down on the retreat. Other riflemen sneaking about. The west looks like to be utterly collapsing. Again, sort of a lack of presence, since again NTD has to actually do most of the infantry work for Chuuone, who's doing his best to sort of push forward with what little he has. But at the same time, he's really in the risk of getting outflanked, because again, he doesn't really have anything to cover the flanks of that MG42. And he has nothing to really keep it behind. We does have some Volksgrenadiers there, and we are seeing further there moving in. But at the same time, riflemen are sneaking in from all points. Really aggressive movements from ChargerReloaded, and AirReloaded looks like to be doing most of the fighting, while ChargerReloaded is basically just doing all of the harassment. And there we go, riflemen again doing it. By this time they are forced to retreat, running the gauntlet of German rifles. And meanwhile, MG42 trying to stop here. A lieutenant, it seems. Bren gunners moving in, but coming under fire as well, and suppressed, my goodness. But further, another assault from another angle. Foot grenadiers moving in to cover that flank. Panzer Grenadiers joining in as well. And this point secured once more. What is going on there? Panzer Command is up. Armored cars. Engineers sneaking up. Could they be up to mining? I don't know. Foot grenadiers and MG42 holding the line. And looks like a bunker is going up. Could be a medic bunker. That would be a good choice. Would be able to heal the troops. What is going on? A field support truck already on the way. And for our American friends, we are seeing nothing else but riflemen so far. Could he be planning for something a bit more devious? Could he be planning an M8 rush? That could be nasty. Riflemen out in the open. Bren gunners pinned down. Panzer Grenadiers moving out. Negative cover. Bike knocked out. Absolutely horrific. And rifle grenades. That could really be dangerous. In fact, some are in fact dying right away. And BARs have been equipped, while further are sneaking in from the rear. Also cutting off Chuuone from actually reinforcing in this position, because they'll be placing right there. And now they're moving about. Oh dear, so much happening. Medic bunker is up, ready to pick up the German wounded and reconstitute them as grenadiers. That's certainly going to help Chuuone. That is, if any wounded actually survive. At the same time, AirReloaded is putting up the pressure, setting up a mortar emplacement rather close to this point, and of course being able to bombard it. Very sneaky, very devious. And there we go, armored car up. Another armored car on the way from the Panzerjäger command. Nothing to really deal with armor, and certainly nothing to deal with that mortar emplacement. Oh, whoops, I wanted to actually look at Chuuone, who has gone defensive. I mean, for me to sort of rather say his actions are bad, and I do know he's actually a rather high-ranking player since he's playing with NTD, who I believe is also a pretty decent player. But again, let's just briefly pause to get this point across. When you're defensive, most of your abilities are not really geared towards the offensive. Now, how much territory do they actually have? I mean, let's just poke around here. They're actually holding less than half. They do have 2 victory points, but they're immediately under bombardment from the mortar emplacements, so that's probably going to be lost very soon. And again, defensive is not really the sort of one for attacks or counterattacks. I mean, that's a bit of a problem there. I mean, he went defensive. I mean, sure, he wanted probably to reinforce at the bunker. He wanted tougher bunkers, but what's the point if that mortar's just going to be firing away and he doesn't really have much to attack with? I mean, had he gone for example, oh, I don't know, say Blitzkrieg, he could perhaps have been able to get a Stu-42 at some point soon and be able to blast that into the dirt. But again, he didn't. So sort of a problem there, and I can again sort of rather feel that Chuuone is being a bit too defensive for my liking. But let's not get stuck on that. Let us return to the fight. Panzer Grenadiers moving about. And a duel from between buildings. Looks like the rifleman might win this one. Armored car with destroyed engines sort of trying its best to get away. MG-42 opening up. Riflemen getting suppressed en masse, trying to secure that central point, and of course retaking it. If they manage to capture it, it's going to be a pain in the ass, since that mortar will be able to fire away, ensuring that no one can actually take it. And there's of course their allies. Armored car moving in to deal with these riflemen. Riflemen in fact looking in a pretty bad spot now, thanks to the armored car. There we go, retreating out of the building, and the left flank is utterly open. I wonder if NTD or Chuuone will exploit this and move through. Riflemen advance, infantry sections advancing. Rifle grenades, mortar rounds, everything else in between. Bren guns and mortar rounds now landing amongst the German troops. Medic picking up the wounded, getting hit by mortar rounds. Armored car moving in, dashing in towards the rescue. Panzer Grenadiers now trying to seize territory rather than Kettenkraut, but of course that Kettenkraut was knocked out. Grenadiers have been reformed for the fatherland up, decreasing the damage they take and making them harder to hit, but that's no help for the MG-42 cleared out. Grenade goes off, killing a few riflemen, and looks like the grenadier team might be lost. Will it make it out of there? Apparently so, and looks like a full retreat. Panzer Grenadiers finally being moved eastwards. Luftwaffe troops on the field. The 16th Luftwaffe Feld Division have been invoked to support the 9th. Armored cars doing what they can, but things are looking pretty bad for the 9th SS Panzer Division at the moment. Their armored cars doing what they can to really kill some British up, but they should probably be trying to flank about and hit them in where the cover is not applying. And riflemen now are on the move as well. Panzer Grenadiers moving upwards here. Some of them awfully heavily wounded, down to 2 men with a sliver of health. Panzer Support Command is up. And interestingly enough, we're not seeing anything. Oh wait, there we go. Sappers from AirReloaded. But until then, actually hadn't used it. Wounded being sent back to the casualty clearing station. And medics might be picking up the wounded soon as well. Chuuone has got himself a medic. But no half-track, nothing that can really sort of lead an attack and seize territory for the fatherland. And now the Luftwaffe, which of course can be both used as a defense and an offensive, it's certainly one of the more strategically and tactically flexible doctrines of the Panzer Elite. But now of course, not enough freed up to deal with everything else, and these Panzer Grenadiers need to retreat as soon as possible. Armored cars are moving in, but the riflemen already have heavy cover, and they might also have sticky bombs if they are not careful. The armored cars to this though. Pioneers trying to secure that point. Mortar ready to blast away. Will it be in time? Oh dearie me, and of course might be seeing just a barrage, so they won't need line of sight. And there we go, Pioneers knocked out. That is the danger of a mortar emplacement right next to one of your victory points, and of course a mortar in general. Since of course units taking points are easier to hit, meaning of course a mortar is going to have a much easier time knocking out any units as well. Medics moving in though to pick up the wounded Pioneer. The other one was completely dead. Engineers with flamethrowers moving in. Snipers opening up. Mortar as well. Volksgrenadiers not too happy about this situation. Perhaps they want to move a bit, so they aren't quite as easy targets. Medics also moving in now, meaning a medic station and a casualty clearing station. Lots of medics now on all sides. Luftwaffe troops moving in as well, opening up, offering what little support, and artillery, my goodness. A 25-pounder gun opening up on the German Panzer Grenadier positions, trying to advance. Artillery, though, denying them that. And what is this? A light anti-tank half-track is up, but no Panzer IV, though that could actually have been helpful too. Anti-tank half-tracks. Panzer Grenadiers charging forward, some awfully wounded, need to retreat. Assault rifles joining in the fun as well. A bit of a suppressive volley, but the Panzer Grenadiers are forced away due to heavy automatic fire and an attempt by the British to flank their force. Kampfkraft sent up, going for Chuuone. No armor, no heavy armored cars. Volksgrenadiers holding the line. Sniper moving in. Volksgrenadiers getting slaughtered, need to retreat. And let us go have a look at ChargerReloaded. Heavy losses. One Volksgrenadier completely cleared out then. The British are continuing, and the sort of choice for Chuuone to go defensive isn't really helping him much. Volksgrenadiers getting sniped, need to retreat. And artillery now going on the bunker where there's a machine gun hiding. Grenadiers getting out, but they need to retreat before the artillery gets them, and there we go. Some are killed though. Armored cars and anti-tank half-tracks moving in. American riflemen getting cut down in the north. Infantry reduction, of course, for Mr. ChargerReloaded, because again he's using artillery, plus this is nice badge. Otherwise, interestingly enough, not much else for AirReloaded from a support truck. Just a sapper team with PS, and of course they set up that 25-pounder gun. American riflemen coming out to quite a bit of fire so far. No armored assets, although a motor pool is up by now. Anti-tank gun. AirReloaded blasting away, perhaps hoping to hit here. Yes, indeed. Need to get out of there. MG42 firing away. Engineer team cleared out by that courageous machine gunner. And then more artillery gets called in on the bunker. Will they survive? And of course, note, a unit in a building, if the building collapses, the building inside dies. Very important to note. Medics dead. One gunner is in fact dead. And the buildings do provide some protection against artillery. And in this case, they ran out and then got killed. And then the building did collapse anyways. Not looking too good at all for the 9th SS. And looks like the British are moving through here. Very few forces to really hold the line for Chuuone. Anti-tank half-tracks firing, but will they be using focused fire? I mean, that's a great ability to use. It really can help you deal with infantry, since it actually makes them a lot more accurate and in fact can kill on a hit. But sadly, no, it seems to be not used by NCD at all. Quite sad. Another bunker tried to set up, but no luck there. Grenadiers getting slaughtered now. Need to retreat. Veterancy 1. Luftwaffe troops and Volksgrenadiers moving about close to each other.
Enemy unit down.
And looks like something got knocked out there. Armored car, in fact. Panzergrenadiers trying to move in, but too few numbers, and they aren't focusing on the rifle, instead getting killed in the process and forced to retreat. And the Americans now breaking through here as well, really overextending the defenses of Chuuone and NTD. Forced into a full retreat there as well. A mortar half-track as well. Interestingly enough, no Panzer IV from the Panzer Support Command. That could actually probably have done a lot, to be honest. Blast through the infantry, blast through the Brits, blast through quite a lot. It looks like the Brits there, Americans I mean, are getting quite killed. Mortar rounds doing bit, and artillery going in, hitting that spot completely. Volksgrenadiers trying to seize this point. Veterancy 3. In fact, my goodness, Chuuone has been quick to sink a lot of his resources into infantry veterancy, which I suppose is not bad, but at the same time you want to ensure you actually have the infantry to make that make sense. As you might have noticed, he doesn't quite have a lot. You can't help but feel that Sturm Army or Panzer Command might have been wiser. Wirbelwind under fire from the anti-tank gun. Will the Wirbelwind get out of there? Yes, indeed, but will it be in time? And Grenadiers on the hunt as a reconnaissance section sweeps in. Sets up in that trench section. Grenadiers retreating, further Grenadiers moving in, but not fully reinforced. Could be that manpower is a problem for Chuuone. British troops getting killed. German medics running the gauntlet, or walking it I suppose, while towing some wounded friends. Anti-tank half-track moving in. Will we be seeing any focused fire? Still none. Artillery once more moving in on this spot, or some spot. Right on the bunker again. Panzer Grenadiers moving about. Luftwaffe troops repairing what they can. Not a lot going on in NTD space, and I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. Yes, indeed, yes, it's going to be a shorter game, but I thought it still had some interesting merit. Again, the sort of problem with just going defensive right off the bat when you don't quite have the territory to really justify it, but Let's not get stuck up on that. I mean, what is the current situation? Well, it's not really good for the Axis. They're really having the sort of trouble of amassing a proper assault force. They've sort of managed to rather let themselves be pinned in here, and then they're slowly getting pushed back from there. And it's also rather denying NCD's advantage as the Panzer Elite primary advantage. In fact, that's the speed and firepower, the mobility. I mean, and then instead they're basically fighting as the main infantry force, which again is not really what they're there for. That would rather be the task of Grenadiers or Volksgrenadiers, not the Panzer Grenadiers, who are in fact much more expensive to reinforce, among other things. The British and Americans are doing better, though interestingly enough.
AT ready.
No vehicles at all for ChargerReloaded, only a howitzer and some anti-tank guns. Of course, the howitzer is not from the motor pool, but that's only going to help the artillery, since now they have two howitzers, a 25 pounder and the 105mm. Looks like the 25 pounder is in fact firing. And lots of infantry, and with an armor command up, we'll probably be seeing some armor from them as well, whereas the Germans, none at all. Except that flak panzer, and well, I'd not really call it directly armor. I mean, yes, it's got armor, but it's not really got anything to deal with other bits of armor. That's going to be a bit of a problem, but let's return to the fight. Let us have a look at AirReloaded. AirReloaded, I said, not ChargerReloaded. We've already looked at a ham computer. And this area getting pounded into dust. Medic bunker being the target, of course. Medic bunkers tends to be priority targets for any sort of artillery if spotted, which of course also means that generally you shouldn't keep your troops around medic bunkers if avoidable, because otherwise they're going to be caught up in it. Collateral damage, basically. Panzer Grenadiers advancing up here. Panzer Strike, and looks like a Cromwell tank has arrived. That's only going to prove a problem. Field support truck has been spotted. Panzer Strike's moving in. And missing. Hurrah! Riflemen and the Cromwell counter-attacking.
German forces are trying to overrun one of our sectors.
Not looking good at all. No matter free either for the Axis. Panzer Grenadiers moving in, trying to deal with that anti-tank gun where they have any luck. Cromwell opens up, in fact, as well. Riflemen moving in from other sides. Panzer Grenadiers forced into a retreat with heavy losses. And right here in the east, the things are collapsing once more again. And NCD sending all of his armored forces to either side. Not having much luck, and looks like an assault is going on in the center. Volksgrenadiers trying to seize that point. Perhaps they did. Who knows? Or perhaps it was the riflemen counter-attacking. The upper wind opening up. Sniper as well. Haven't seen that sniper for some time, actually. And now coming under fire. Sniper might want to get out of there. Armored vehicles certainly are. In the west, half-tracks are blasting away. Still not a single use of focused fire by NGDs and his light anti-tank half-tracks. I find that rather depressing. Medics getting blasted through the head, not really cheerful either. Medic bunker still standing. Pioneers were swift to repair. Grenadiers getting ready to perhaps launch a counter-attack, but again, would have been easier with, for example, Blitzkrieg and some assault grenades, since of course all these troops are nicely clumped up. The implement moves in, opens up. Further Cromwells have arrived. Or at least a Cromwell command tank, yes indeed. Grenadiers advancing, will a grenade be launched? And a German half-track is knocked out. The other one firing away. Everything falling apart. Luftwaffe troops seeing a half-track and the comrades in it dying in front of their eyes. Pack firing away at the Cromwells. Cromwell command tank almost out. Its dummy gun destroyed. Absolutely horrific. That is, if it wasn't a dummy gun. And there is the artillery barrage forcing the Brits away from the east. Small relief, I suppose. Not good at all. 9th SS Panzer Division is suffering quite heavily in the attempt to broach the Allied lines and seize any victory points, which are now in fact all in the hands of the Allies. The 11th Armoured Division Now getting some Fireflies to join in the fun. Not all British divisions, in fact, were equipped with the Cromwell tanks. But some were. Others were equipped with Shermans and other bits. And looks like Panthers have arrived for NTD. Figuring, well, if he wants armor, he might as well go for the big price. But then again, a Panzer IV would have been helpful against the infantry. Not to say Panthers are completely useless against infantry, but a Panzer IV would have been more helpful.
The victory point under attack.
And the center is looking rather devastated. A land of broken ground, dreams, and blood. There's broken dreams, not broken blood. Just keeping things in perspective. Panthers getting repaired. Half tracks advancing. And a bit of firing going on there. Grenadiers trying to hold the line, but are forced to retreat. Cromwell running into the Pack 38. Captain being rather daring right in front of it. Pioneers advancing forwards. Americans moving in as well. Mortar firing up. And the Panthers are once more on the move. Probably from the 9th SS Panzer Division, as again the 10th didn't actually have any Panthers, I believe, in Normandy. Riflemen getting blasted to bits. Oh, so very quiet. And a few grenadiers hiding with a pier they've stolen from some dead sappers. And there we go, Americans advancing right into the veterancy. 3 grenadiers, Panther moving in to support. Acting as a strong point, but still not a single victory point in the hands of the Axis. Panther grenadiers moving in through here. No Luftwaffe troops in support. That could have helped. For sure. Rest of the armored menagerie of the 9th SS seems to be nowhere to be seen, back rather far away from the fighting. Medic bunker soon ready to have another grenadier team constituted. No further infantry, in fact, from Chuuone, except that. A bit depressing, actually. Panzer grenadiers trying to seize points up here, but again, not a proper assault, and again, no support from his assets, no Wirbelwind. No flak panzer, no armored cars, no mortar. That could actually have made it a much stronger push and really force the Allies into a slightly perilous situation. But again, there seems to be sort of this lack of focus, this lack of a real aggressive punch into the Allies' sides or lines or flanks or whatever. Constantly diluting their own efforts in the attempt to deal with the British and armies, which only results in a lot of dead Panzer grenadiers. And looks like another effort's going on here, but the British are quick to counterattack. Grenadiers dying. Panthers doing nothing. Wirbelwind and armored car doing nothing especially interesting either as well.
Germans are trying to overrun one of our strategic locations.
And artillery going in. Looks like a creepy barrage. Sneaky that. Forcing the German panzers away. And of course, if this was a proper creeping barrage, the infantry quickly should have followed into seized territory. That's rather how a creeping barrage works. You have a sort of slow barrage sort of creeping upwards, and then the infantry follows after shortly, thus ensuring the enemy can't quickly recover afterwards. And of course, your enemy infantry is quicker to sort of get upon the enemy positions. Pioneers trying to put down a bunker right in front of the enemy, and one dies, in fact, in the process. Now the Wirbelwind and the armored car once more gets into the fight. Panzers opening up as well. Not really looking good, though. Another Firefly ready. I do believe it's time to return to NTD. Looks like ChargerReloaded is going for the Panzer Command. A bit late for that, I'd say. Panzer moving in from the west, coming under heavy fire though. Cromwell, Firefly, Americans. No assistance from the other armored forces or even Chuuone, but the Panthers certainly could have helped there, but no such luck. again, the Axis forces seem unable to really make any move forwards, constantly on the back foot, constantly reacting rather than acting for the most part. And sadly there's no real great attempt to sort of seize the initiative by violence, by great maneuver out of the hands of the Allies. And they're constantly really sort of falling back. No bold maneuvers which could possibly turn things around or just ended the game either as well, which is rather sad. Sometimes that's all it takes. One incredibly bold maneuver and things fall apart for the opponent or yourself. That's again the fun of company of heroes. Sometimes you just have to push your goddamn luck. And looks like further Panthers are arriving. Not a Panzer IV or an Ostwind, but a Panther again, even though they aren't really bloody well using them even. And let's hope we get some veterancy for that Panther as swiftly as possible. In fact, let's go have a look at Chuuone. Is he getting armor veterancy? Absolutely not. It seems Panthers are advancing, coming under fire though from anti-tank guns and Fireflies. Where's the other Panther? Moving in? No. Come on, Panthers, move. Armor car and we've been charging through here. German infantry under heavy fire. Panzer gets forced away as a huge flood of infantry marches through in the center. Panther almost gone. Not looking good at all. Fireflies marching forwards. The march of the Fireflies. German infantry now under heavy fire. Another bunker up. I mean, Chuuone just doesn't give up on those bunkers. Panthers now fighting the desperate fight. One already down. Two left behind. Fireflies just firing away with a 17-pounder gun. Panther hit by artillery. American infantry flanks the German positions, opening up with vengeance and great temerity. German infantry not looking too well. Artillery getting called in on the Americans. Registered artillery barrage. Will they make it out of there? No, some die, but the rest do actually. And looks like NCT is belly aching a bit. And AirReloaded isn't really being dignified either. Or perhaps he's just being a bit tongue-in-cheek, which is certainly a bit more acceptable. And again, it could just be friendly / insane banter. Armored car sort of trying to flank there, but again, no greater luck from the Axis forces. The 9th SS constantly running into problems. And the Allied infantry are charging towards the Panthers. Pack 38 cleared out. Wirbelwind also under fire and further artillery getting called in. Bunker is no more again. I could certainly say that Charger and AirReloaded are a couple of bunker busters. Chuuone retreating. 2nd Panther out. Leaving behind only one, in fact. And this is a pretty devastating loss for the 9th SS, having taken quite a few losses. And of course, question ultimately becomes, well, what the devil can we learn from this? Again, this is sort of the problem of sort of giving up the initiative too fast. I mean, it was sort of like this. Right, we see some territory, then the Panzer Grenadiers, which are rather more mobile fighters, are then acting as the main infantry force, fighting in a static fight, while I sort of take up the defensive and not really do anything again to sort of take territory. I mean, that was the problem with them. NCD got sort of forced into an infantry fight rather than sort of trying to keep to the essence, which was the Panzer leader, their speed and damage. And instead it was sort of more about just damage and trying to soak up damage. And Panzer Grenadiers are around again. While they are tough, they are much better when they're on the move, really trying to do their best to outmaneuver their opponent, and that simply did not happen. I mean, the west of the map was for a large part unsupported, rather open. They could have broken through there, but sadly none happened, really. We have little efforts to really done through that. And I mean, again, if they sort of moved up through here, done some damage, sneak up through here, and then attack from the rear, they could have done a lot more damage, but it never materialized. Again, they sort of stuck to here and sort of banging their head into a wall. Again, the banging into your head into a wall doctrine is a pretty terrible doctrine. Don't go for it. It only gives you a concussion and a defeat. So, and I mean, well, on the hand, we saw some rather aggressive movements, in particular from ChargerReloaded, quick to exploit any sort of chinks in the enemy's armor, sneaking about, and AirReloaded, who basically just kept the enemy occupied, with some brusqueful assaults and then getting more artillery, which made things a lot harder. And again, he didn't have to worry because there was no real threat of a major counterattack, because again, Chuuone had gone for defensive, and AirReloaded or NTD with his Luftwaffe though was rather again lacking sort of the direct assault measures because he hadn't gotten a Panzer IV. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying, be careful with going defensive too early on and giving your opponent the advantage. Cheers.